All right, everyone. So Dave Batista went on the Jimmy Fallon show, and he got pretty real about how he got into the business and how he was initially. Here's what he had to say.
But did you know that you would go into WWE, or is that easy to get
No,
into? Or?
no. So that's what I did. I wanted to just lift weights, and I thought I wanted to bodybuild. And 13 years later, I had nothing to show for it. I was just big and jacked, and I was broke. And I thought,
There you go.
what am I going to do? And
Yeah.
professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And I actually failed at that.
You didn't.
No. My first tryout was miserable. They told me to leave, and I'd never be a pro wrestler. And
Where was that?
that was in Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, it's a place called the Power Plant, which was the WCW at the time.
And so you went there, and
They literally told me to leave.
they said you're not gonna.
You're not going to make it. You're never going to make it.
Wow,
Yeah.
were they wrong? Oh my gosh, boy, did you make it! Boy, did you make it! Come on, boy, did you make it!
So obviously, with situations like this, you always talk about, well, hindsight's always 2020, right? Like now we could turn back and see, yeah, but yeah, WCW screwed up on that. And I remember, 2005 Batista was just a beast. He was, as his nickname is, the animal, right? He was the animal. And it's interesting when you hear about WCW like this because this was actually what WCW needed, right? WCW needed more of this young talent. And the problem was the young talent they did have, right? That talent was it was being held down by people at the top, right? And that's kind of the story of WCW is you have these older, superstars who are keeping down everybody else because they want to stay on top. At least that's how the story is told. And so it is one of those things that, when you talk about what ifs, if Batista was able to become a star during his time in WCW, meaning if he made it all the way up the rankings, I really think that that could have gone a long way. Obviously, I don't think they ever were going to beat WWE. Obviously there was a point where they could have beat WWE, but the problem is that WWE just had way too much talent during that time. The interesting question I think to ask yourself about the Attitude Era is less about could WCW have beaten WWE, and like put them out of business. I don't think that was going to really happen, especially because of how WWE had this major turn, right? Like this idea that WCW and WWE, the only thing that was going to put WWE out of business was WWE itself, right? If they continued down a path of bad writing and bad characters and bad character development. But I think both could have stood on their own merit if they were able to, right? And WCW was unable to keep that momentum going. So if they could have gotten stars like Batista, right? Could WCW have actually survived if they were able to get more of these stars and kind of the backroom politics was kicked out? Who knows? Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.